Everybody, Corey Noel, the veteran trainer here, and we're starting another series on the channel, and it's gonna be along the lines of interviewing those that want to tell their story of starting their fitness journey through their active lifestyle. Okay. Um, It's going to be pretty simple. It's just going to be like an open dialogue with someone either maybe here working out with me in the office, or it may be a Zoom call from someone who's not in the area, or maybe a sit down having a coffee. You know, there's no rules here. We're going to do it however the individual feels comfortable. Okay. And this was introduced to me, this idea was introduced to me by a friend. And I thought, you know what, that's a great idea, man. You know, because everyone's getting tired of hearing me talking. So that's okay. I don't mind. You're not hurting my feelings. I'm okay. Anyway, so I thought I'd start the series off though by talking about myself. No, I'm going to tell my story to give you an idea of what it may be like, so that if you're hinting at the possibility of wanting to talk about your story in the hopes of motivating others, this will give you an idea of how it will play out. Okay, so it's just going to be a couple simple questions. We're not worrying about, you know, your whole resume and your history and all that jazz throughout the military. We just want to know about where you were when you started and where you're at and what your goals are and what you're going to be doing next, kind of idea. All right. So yeah, it's just going to be a conversation, one-on-one conversation, real simple dialogue, nothing set in stone, right? And if you're interested, we could discuss offline first, so you could mentally prepare yourself, you know, for what you want to say and what information you want to pass on, right? So the hopes of this is that by other people telling their stories, we're going to reach a wider audience of individuals who may need that little motivation, that nudge, or that inspiration to start their journey. Okay, because there's only so many people that follow my stuff. But if we introduce other vets and service members telling their story, we're going to reach their family and friends who may need that help. Okay, so Corey Noel, I hope you like this. I hope there's some takeaways. Follow along. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you at the finish line. Cheers. All right, so I thought we'd start off by talking a little bit about myself. Just a quick intro or background. So, who's Corey Noel? Well, Corey Noel is a kid that was born and raised in British Columbia, Canada, for those of you watching outside the country. Mom and dad, Ralph and Joylene, still together, many moons now. I was the youngest of 5 boys, my poor parents. And, we were all within 5 years difference. The 2 oldest twins, unfortunately, we lost them over the years on 2 separate occasions. Ron and Jamie are still living out in BC. Decided it was time to go off and do something greater with my life and joined the military in 1998. Moved out came out here to Gagetown and started my military career. Wasn't until shortly, a few short years after I started, I had my first injury, and a pretty severe one. It was military sports. It was intersection hockey, and I snapped my femur. So it was, and it, wasn't a crazy experience, but it was still pretty traumatic. And I have flashbacks about that event still to this day, and it's been 20 plus years now. But that was just my first injury, So over the years, I've succumbed quite a few physical injuries throughout my military career. I've had wrist surgery. I've had surgery on both my knees, the broken femur, of course. I've got some nerve issues going on in my neck and my back, and and the normal wear and tear that your body can take, through 20 plus years in the combat arms. I also I've been with my wife now for 20 years, Shannon. We've been married for 14. We got two fantastic children, Blake and Bryce, turning 12 and 10 this year. Bryce is just starting soccer, so excited about that. And Blake is real techie, loves his gaming, and is just a wizard at that stuff. So sports was not his way, which is fine. Not every kid's an athlete, right? And what do we do? Well, I'm retired now, so my wife has a fantastic job, which is for Soldier On, that is directly supports service members and veterans. Okay, using the power of sport for recovery. Okay, which is just an awesome. She loves it, and I just try to support her any way I can. As a family, we love camping. We have a campground not far from our home that we're at, Ironbound Cove, it's called. Fantastic place, great owners, great community. And, we love spending time out there. We have a Sea-Doo. The in-laws are parked next to us. They just bought a pontoon boat this year, and we just put a dock in. So we're looking forward to having a great summer out there. And that's going to be our existence for the summer when the kids are out of school. It's just enjoying that area and that space to the fullest. All right, so a few years back, I was introduced to Soldier On, not through my wife. My wife was still working at the Military Family Resource Center at the time, and a friend of mine had was competing for the Invictus Games in Toronto, which was the second one after the inaugural games that was held in London. Third. Second one was in Orlando, I believe. Yeah, so third games. Anyway, a friend of mine was selected and was competing. And I remember watching it online and was just over the moon excited and inspired by him and what he was accomplishing, not just for himself, but for his family. And that really left a mark with me. So when he returned, he was trying to motivate and inspire me to apply for the next games. But I felt I wasn't deserving. I was like, man, there's more deserving people that will benefit from that than I will. I'd returned from Afghanistan quite a few years prior to this. I was in Afghanistan in 2008 and into 2009. And this is 2017, so quite some time has passed. So I was also dealing with some mental stuff as well. Not just because of Afghanistan, but just that, life, kids, work, youth, and just everything, and over the years I've come to realize is that everybody deals with certain shit on their own. And I'm a firm believer that everybody should talk to someone about the stuff they deal with, regardless of the severity or whatever it is. Okay. Anyway, so getting back to the Invictus Games. So he's trying to persuade me to apply, and I keep fighting him on it. So there was a point in my career, I was working at the artillery school in Gagetown, and me and a friend were walking in from the parking lot into the building, and there had been things on my mind bothering me for quite some time. And I just said to him, hey man, you ever feel like you're just spinning out of control? I said, I can never focus on anything I feel like I'm just spiraling out of control. I can't read a paragraph without losing track of where I am. I can't focus on one task at a time without bouncing all over the place. And I was just feeling rattled for quite some time. And he just, and this will stick with me forever. He just looked at me. He's like, "Dude, I thought I was the only one." But the weight of saying that out loud, that it lifted off my shoulders, uh, that was the starting point for me to start getting some help on the mental side of things, and for all those things that I was dealing with. So, again, my friend is still trying to convince me to apply for the Invictus Games. And I was at his house for supper one night, and his wife said, "Corey, you're going to sit down. We're doing this application right now. No ands, ifs, or buts." I was like, "All right, sure. I'll fill out the application. There's no hurt in doing that, whatever." So, fill out the application, and it was probably late 2017. So, and I put no more thought into it. Went back to work as usual, getting more and more disgruntled and irritable as the days went by. And so this is like 6 years ago. So the kids are young, and I would come home from work, and work was not a long enough drive away for me to vent out and release all that angst I was dealing with on a daily basis. So I was bringing it home, which was not good. So fast forward to February of the following year, 2018, and that's when I found out that I was selected for the games, and I was just over the moon. And 683 people applied for that, and I was selected. And at this time, I wasn't doing anything besides some of the mandatory PT at work. And even then, because of my job, I was really busy. I was using that sometimes as an excuse to get out of not having to go, because I just physically wasn't happy with myself. I wasn't happy with my conditioning. Mentally, I was just irritable, so it wasn't in a good place. So getting selected for the games was kind of the spark that I needed. So during all the preparations for the games, the workup, training, the training camps, I'm still dealing with physical injuries. I finally started to seek mental health, and I was starting to feel better, a lot better about, how I was starting to work on things and make those changes. All right. And another moment that sticks out in my mind is being at the first training camp, which was April of 2018. I'm sitting around, and the 42 of us, staff, coaches, and I remember looking around the auditorium, and I was just thinking, everybody's dealing with something, physical, mental, both, So it made me feel a little more at ease about being there, being surrounded by all these, at the moment, strangers, because I just met them, and I was like, "Okay, Corey, we can do this," because my friend had told me, he goes, "When you're selected, when you go, be open-minded and just grasp and enjoy every aspect of it and put yourself out there. All right, so now that I've been selected, coaches send out a training regime, and I'm on the rowing, I'm on the cycling, and I'm on the wheelchair basketball team. So I hook up with the wheelchair basketball club here in Fredericton. That was awesome. All those individuals, very welcoming, very supportive, and very helpful for getting me in the chair and getting me used to playing that sport. What a great sport, man. I had my own bike already, which I'd only done a little bit, but I started getting that more on track. And I started going to the gym and training on the rowing machines there regularly, every day. But I wasn't doing any fitness weight training regime or anything like that, which was my only regret about that whole time. I just wish I would have started back then. But I was still in that mindset of there's only so much that I can do because of my physical injuries. So cycling was low impact. I did have some issues though when I was getting into long rides at like 60, plus kilometers, where from my arms down, my traps down, I was dealing with nerve issues, and I was really just losing sensation and feeling and a lot of tingling and stuff like that. So I was weary and nervous about that. Rowing, again, not a lot of impact. Okay. So I was capable of doing that as well. And obviously wheelchair basketball, no impact on my knees for that one at all. But yeah, so I did that. That's what I did working up to the games. I just rode and cycled. Went to wheelchair basketball once a week, and they were nice enough to loan me a chair so I could practice in the driveway. Actually, it was really cool. So being at the games was phenomenal. What an experience! So many emotions, so much exposure to so many different things, and just such a positive energy that flowed through that place throughout the entire time we were there. And I brought my wife and my friend with me as support, and that was nice to have them there as well. But I told them, I said, we're in Australia, we're in Sydney, Australia. And I said, I'm not here for sightseeing. I said, I'm here to support my team. And that's my aim here. I'm not here to, it's not about me. Okay. It's about being in the moment, absorbing as much of this positive energy as I can, and just, man, it was something. Got to meet Prince Harry. That was really cool. Told him thanks for the games. He said, no, thank you. I said, no, thank you. So after my first event, which was only like day 3 on the ground, it was cycling, and I did the time trial. And what a grueling track, man, because it was almost all uphill on the second half of the track, man. Oh, it just kicked our ass. Anyway, I just remember finishing the time trial, and I was like, I need to find Shannon ASAP. Like, I was just, I don't know. She was at the other end of the track, and I finally caught up to her, and it was just like this flood of emotions, man, just came over the both of us, man, and we just embraced and hugged for what felt like a lifetime. And yeah, that was another one of those moments I'll never forget. Because I don't know what, I can't describe it, but it was very emotional. Yeah. So the end of the games is approaching. And the one thing that the staff and coaches keep telling us is that you need to prepare for the crash. And what they meant by that was that you've been riding on this high since being selected for the games. And it's all going to come to a screeching halt, and they call it the crash. And I was like, that's okay. You know, I'll keep doing what I'm doing, and maybe I'll get into helping the next group of athletes prepare for their event and stuff like that. You know, and I had all these great ideas that I was going to do. So, just like they said, the crash. You know, it was late in the year. I couldn't cycle anymore because it's getting into fall or late fall and winter. Yeah, but I was rowing a little bit, and just like a brick wall, boom. You know, it just so kind of lost feeling and like, what am I doing? I, I I wanted all that positive energy and I wanted to be able to pass it on somehow, but I didn't know how about going and getting that accomplished. You know, I thought I wanted to get into coaching, but I a bit at this point I've been an instructor for almost 10 years, and I just loved being that individual passing on knowledge, you know, and teaching people. So I wanted to be able to do that, which because I've always enjoyed that. Um, but I just didn't think that coaching was going to be my thing. So, so just fell into that slump. I pretty much stopped cycling. Rowing became non-existent. I was going to work like a mindless zombie, you know, and it just wasn't really fair to my kids and my wife, that's for sure, you know, and they were seeing that. So it wasn't a good time. So I'm now at a point where retirement was creeping up fast. You know, I'd made that decision that it was, I was done. You know, I was around the 22-year mark, uh, and I started off with a voluntary release, which was quickly identified as being medically released because of physical and mental shit that I was dealing with for years. Okay. So it took me a while to accept that, uh, the mental stuff. And I think anybody that deals with those things can agree that, you know, there's a lot of pride that gets in the way of getting support and getting help. So when I did start getting the help that I needed, I still hadn't told anybody except for obviously my wife knew, and maybe the odd, well, like one or two of my friends, and that was pretty much it. So the end of career is boiling down, and I'm still on no fitness activities, nothing like that, and it just physically was not feeling good about myself because for so many years I prided myself on my physical condition and what I could do physically on the job and within the military. Um, and COVID hit. COVID hit. Fuck. So I'm now retired. It's probably been almost a year of retirement. I had a small business at first that was kind of keeping me going, and I had started work up to that before I even got out. And I thought that was my purpose. And I thought I needed it, which my wife was trying to convince me that I needed to take time to transition and just get settled into retirement. So after some time, I did. I stopped the business and I started enjoying the retirement transition. But still, no, no fitness or whatever I was doing. I wasn't working out. I wasn't cycling. I wasn't rowing. I wasn't doing anything. And I was really turning into a slug, in my opinion. Okay. Um, and yeah, I just wasn't happy with myself. My wife, on the other hand, had been working out consistently for quite some time. You know, little tiny room over in the other side of the basement here. She had a couple sets of dumbbells. I got her a bench. We turned that little room, tore out the closet, made it a little bigger, got her treadmill in there, bench, yoga mat, and she was happy with that space. That was hers, right? So she finally convinced me to start, just go down and try. And I was like, I don't know what it was. Something in me just clicked. I said, okay, I'm going to try. And it was simple, really simple. So I went into her little workout room and just started with some simple exercises, push-ups, just light dumbbell bent over rows, some shoulder presses, tricep extensions, bicep curls, and that's what I did. I did a whole bunch of those, and the next day I did some time on the rowing machine that I'd had here, and then the next day I did just a bunch of non-weighted leg exercise, mostly squats, some lunges, and I did that for 4 weeks. And that's when I realized, I was like, shit, Corey, you can do this. My body, the muscle memory came back unbelievable. And I was like, okay, but I said, Shannon, I can do this, but we need more. And that's when we transformed this space into the office. There used to be a pool table sitting here. I agreed to sell that thing immediately, and I'd wanted that thing for years. We had it, but we just weren't using it. It was a folding table and a gift wrapping table. But we got rid of that, transformed this space, which I love, and she loves too, which is great. And that's when it started, So I was motivated by my wife, and I was motivated by my kids, and I was motivated by the way I was feeling, because I knew what training at the gym would feel like, because I'd spent so many years in the gym when I was younger, so I knew I was like, I want to feel like that again, that confidence, that just, that body-mind connection, that healthy body, healthy mind, right? As I got used to working out, and I started acquiring all sorts of things from Marketplace, Walmart, Amazon, wherever, I started with the odd videos posted on my personal Facebook page. And, that was good. I was getting positive feedback from people, because that was the very, very beginning of the journey, right? And so I got to a point where I'm like, you know what? I'll start a private group page, so I'm not monopolizing my page. And then if people want to follow me, you can follow me there, And did that for quite some time. And I still am using that page. All right. And so it was quite a while after, when, 3 months ago, maybe now, something like that, a friend reached out to me and said, hey, have you thought about starting a YouTube channel? I was like, well, I kind of had, but didn't put any serious thought into it. I was like, it felt like it was going to be overwhelming and a lot of work and stuff like that. And I was like, I don't know if I want to really get into that. And again, another point that I'll never forget, in that friend of mine, she was like, just keep doing what you're doing. It doesn't have to be any more, any less. Just keep doing what you're doing. Post videos of you working out. You're motivating, you're inspiring. And I was like, so it made me feel good that she was saying these things to me. And I was like, okay, you know what? You're right. I'll try. Sure. Why not? My brother-in-law is real techie, kind of helped me out, showed me the ropes, some simple editing, uploading, stuff like that. We created an account, and here we are, the veteran trainer. So what it started out with, just me posting simple videos of working out in hopes of inspiring people, has evolved into this YouTube channel where, as the aim is reaching those that need to start their journey, need to get out of the basement, get off the couch, and through the power of fitness and sport, get their lives back. And not just for themselves. You hear me say this all the time. Not just for themselves, but for their family, for their friends, for their loved ones, their kids, uh, and that is probably the most important thing, So, um, you know, because I've experienced it, I've lived it, and I feel it. It's not always awesome. There's still some down days, but there's definitely a lot more good days than bad days, without a doubt. And I can attest to that, tenfold. The gym has evolved. It grows all the time. My wife says, "Does it ever end?" And I said, never ends. Always buying and selling stuff. Find what works, right? And, and sometimes with a little, the help with some friends, instead of buying it, having to spend a ton of money buying stuff, I fabricate stuff like my dumbbell rack and, some other simple little things. But it's my purpose. I found that thing that I wanted to do to help inspire and motivate others. And it feels good. So what it started out with, just me posting simple videos of working out in hopes of inspiring people, has evolved into this YouTube channel where, as you know, the aim is reaching those that need to start their journey. Need to get out of the basement, get off the couch, and through the power of fitness and sport, get their lives back. And not just for themselves. You hear me say this all the time. Not just for themselves, but for their family, for their friends, for their loved ones, their kids, and that is probably the most important thing, So, because I've experienced it, I've lived it, and I feel it. It's not always awesome. There's still some down days, but there's definitely a lot more good days than bad days, without a doubt. And I can attest to that, tenfold. The gym has evolved. It grows all the time. My wife says, "Does it ever end?" And I said, never ends. Always buying and selling stuff. Find what works, right? And, and sometimes with a little, the help with some friends, instead of buying it, having to spend a ton of money buying stuff, I fabricate stuff like my dumbbell rack and, some other simple little things. But it's my purpose. I found that thing that I wanted to do to help inspire and motivate others. And it feels good. So every once in a while, I'm reminded from friends and family, because I'll get a little discouraged. I'm like, why am I doing this? I'll question myself. And it just never fails. When I get to that point, or when I start feeling like that, somebody reaches out, or several people will reach out and just tell me, "Hey, Corey, I love what you're doing. You've inspired us. You've inspired me. I'm on my journey, and I just appreciate what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing." And so that's why I'm here. It doesn't matter if I have 1 million followers or no followers, if I can help change one person's life, that in itself is all the reward that I need, because at the end of the day, I'm still improving my life for my family, my kids, my loved ones, right? So getting to the end here, just a reminder, the whole fitness journey and activities lifestyle is not, hey, get in a weight training regime. That's what I do. This is my journey. Yours could be completely different. For example, there's a wonderful woman out at my campground who watches the page, and she's like, "Man, if that son of a bitch can be doing that," and she's got some serious, I believe it's knee problems. She gets up and she walks 2-3 times a day. Fucking A. Sorry for the English. But that's awesome. And I'm just ecstatic. I was over the moon when she told me that. I was like, awesome. That's awesome. You know, and because another thing you'll hear me say all the time is we don't let our injuries define us. So get out there, walk, hike, paddle, golf. I don't know, get involved in local community activities or something. Take the dogs for a walk, you know, whatever it is. That's all I'm trying to ask here and motivate and inspire. You know, this is mine. And if you want to learn about building a home gym and setting it up and learning some different exercises and all that jazz, there's a lot of that stuff on my page. But the aim here is just to get into some sort of activity and fitness and just, you know, get your life back. You know. All right, so coming to an end. Hope you enjoyed my story. Hope there's some things that you can take away. And you know, and if you know someone that you may think would be an ideal candidate to tell their story, send them my way. You know, we can work something out. You can come and work out in the office. You can come, we can go have a coffee, or we can do a Zoom talk, you know, whatever's easiest, you know, it's all up to the individual. And just thanks everyone for the support. And, oh, sorry. Just grateful for everyone that's been supporting, and happy that this project's going to take off. And I really think this is going to be something good, you know, because all the more people that we're going to be able to reach and hopefully inspire to start their journey. So thank you. Love you all. And can't wait to see you on the next one. All right. So Corey Noel, the Veteran Trainer, out.